right, we got motocross action test rider Brian Medeiros on the show today. How you doing today, Brian?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for coming on the show to BlackListed Mx, man. It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime, anytime. So let's get this interview started, man. You're from Hawaii, dude. Did you
Yep.
grow up? I mean, because Hawaii is completely off the radar when it comes to motocross. Did you grow up riding and racing in Hawaii?
Yeah, I grew up riding and racing in Hawaii. I started riding when I was 5. I rode the same track for the first 18 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, they made a lot of changes to it over the years, but same location, same dirt, same track.
Really? There was a guy I used to work for Yoshimura, and there was a guy who was a pro quad rider at the time, and he used to call me about once, twice a week ordering a bunch of parts, and he was from Hawaii, and I would send him shit on a regular basis, but I guess when he had series of going on out there, he would have to load his bike on a ferry or boat, however he did it at that time, ship his bike like in a week in advance, and then fly over there or boat over to where his bike was at. I was going to ask you, when you guys had series there, was it anything like that for you racing? Or but you already kind of answered my question, like, because you spent 18 years on the same track, so that whole 18 years. So when you ran a series, it was at that same location.
There would be off-island races twice a year. So we'd go to Maui in February, and we'd go race on Oahu in July, and then it'd race on my island in September.
Hmm.
But that was pretty much it for as far as traveling goes and series wise. And you said pro quad rider?
Yeah, I don't recall his name because this was like 10 years ago. I don't remember his
I
name, but
agree.
he
I
was on a
think it was
Suzuki.
my dad. I think it was my dad, to be honest with you, because around that time was right when it's got to be over 10 years now
Yeah,
because
it was
I've
over 10 years.
yeah. So,
Damn.
dude, that's crazy. I think it was my dad
He would
because
call
we were
me.
both on Suzuki's at that time, and he had a Suzuki quad,
Yep.
and he would get Yoshimura exhaust.
Yep.
Dude, no way! What a small world.
I know, I know. That shit would be crazy. And it was the only guy that would call me from Hawaii, and that's why I remember that. And he would be the only guy, and we would talk for maybe 30 minutes at a time when he called every time.
Dude, I might have to ask him about this after this interview because he was the only one that had a Suzuki quad.
It was probably him then. It was probably him because the timing seems just on point.
Yeah, that's wild because I've been here 10 years and he rode pretty much all the way up until right after I moved.
Wow, wow. So, at what point did you know that you wanted to actually leave the island and actually come to California and take racing a little bit more serious?
To be honest with you, I didn't really like. They would show the races on TV there in Hawaii, but it was the cable network that we had would always be like 3 months delayed. So I
Okay.
knew of what pro motocross and supercross was, but I didn't really look into it
Hmm.
until I turned 18, and they had this Loretta area qualifier that came to Hawaii for the first time in 2013. And I
Okay.
was like, what's this Loretta Lynn deal? So I'm like, amongst my senior year, I'm in school looking up Loretta Lynn's, like reading up about it. And
Hmm.
then me and my dad ended up going over to Oahu and doing that qualifier. And then I qualified in the area, and I met this guy. He was on vacation, but he was over there doing the Loretta area qualifier too. His name is Brian Dominguez from up in Northern California.
Okay.
So he's like, "Hey, come over and come stay with me a month before regionals and kind of get ready and get used to the lay of the land and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, sweet." I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Was so how was the competition for you back home in Hawaii? I mean, going through the ranks, did you have like full gates? Was it very minimum riders at the time?
Very minimal, but I would say the riders that we did have were really good quality all the way. When I was younger, they were on big bikes already, but there was a group of eight to ten of them that were really fast that I always looked up to,
Hmm.
and always kind of was chasing their speed as I grew up. So when I got on big bikes, I was decent, but nothing compared to what it is here in California. That's for sure.
Okay. When you came over to California, Was it everything you expected, or how did you transition your racing in California as opposed to how it was in Hawaii?
Dude, it was a complete shell shock, like cultural change, like just getting used to cold weather. Riding in cold weather was hard for me in the beginning.
It doesn't get cold
The
in Cali.
speed, the speed of everybody was insane. It blew me away. Like I felt pretty decent coming into it. Like okay, I'm like top, three or four, three in Hawaii. So I'm like, okay, I must be pretty decent. And then I come over for the regionals and just absolutely get worked. And I'm like,
Mm.
wow, this is crazy.
So when you came over, what was your main focus when you came? Was it strictly racing? Did you have family here and you came here because you said you've been came here in California because you said you've been there for 10 years now. So when you came there, was it mainly family or was it mainly to focus on your racing?
No, it was mainly to focus on my racing. I had no idea that I was gonna stay. I bought a one-way ticket and we shipped my bike over here and I had $500 and I was just planning to stay with Brian for a month and that month turned to never going back.
Damn, damn. You recently spent
Yeah,
some. You recently spent went home, right?
yeah, yeah. It was super nice to go back home. I went home for 3 weeks. Spent Christmas and the New Year's. Got engaged, and
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was super good. I was the first 5 or 6 years. I think I haven't gone back all that much, but now that with the position I'm in with my business and stuff, and I'm able to travel a little bit more and
Mm-hmm.
kind of make my own schedule. So I was able to take a lot of trips back home last year, which was amazing. You don't know how much you miss it until you go back,
Mm-hmm.
but or I like it's always gonna be there. So I know I can always go back, but it's just nice to go back every once in a while, hit the reset button, and
Yeah.
get results.
Yeah, definitely. I'm from California, man, and I'm definitely overdue. I need to hit that reset button a long time ago, and but I'll be there, man. I got a trip. I got a trip that I'm scheduling to come back, so it'll be good to contact everybody and spend a little bit of time with family for sure. Um,
Yeah. Good. And then you got to get you on a dirt bike. I got a couple of Suzuki's you can throw your
oh
leg over.
shit! Oh shit! All right, all right.
All right. Yeah.
Right on. Um, you are now a part of the motocross action testing crew. How did you end up getting involved with that? How'd that all start?
So when I moved here, I lived up in Northern California with my buddy Brian Dominguez for 6 months, and then I actually met um, on one of our trips down to Southern California. I actually met one of my best friends, Austin Howell, and he was doing Supercross outdoors at the time, and then he's like, "Hey, come down and come hang out and stuff." So came down, hung out. I was able to meet Dennis Stapleton, and Dennis was like, "Hey, dude, if you want to work, I got some work that you can do and a place where you can stay." So I'm like, "Shoot, to be in Southern California," I'm like, "Yeah." So ended up moving down to SoCal with Dennis. Lived with him for a long time, and just being involved with Dennis was my avenue to meet Jody, Daryl, Travis, all the MXA guys, John Basher back when I first moved down here,
Mhm.
and yeah, 2023 is my 10th year with them.
Oh wow, you've been with them that long, huh?
Yeah, when I moved here in 2013, when I was 18, and then started testing with them then towards the end of 2013, and ever since I've been an MXA guy.
Right on, right on. I want to take it back a little bit. I know that you recently had some bikes stolen. If I'm not mistaken, one might have been your personal bike, one might have been a test bike. Maybe they were both test bikes. But thanks to the motocross community, you were able to receive those bikes, dude. But I know it was like when you wake up and you go out to the garage and your shit is gone. Like that's one of the worst feelings you can get. Like, man, one thing I hate is a fucking thief, man. Like you work so hard to build up whatever it is, and then somebody just comes in with the ease and takes it from you, right? But
Yeah, it was.
thankfully, go
That
ahead.
was crazy, man. That was crazy. Like that whole day was like a day I'd like to forget because we were getting ready for the Arizona Open. I had 4 or 5 white kids here with me, and we were all, getting ready. We all got bikes ready and stuff, and then that morning I wake up. kind of early, and I'm like, okay, I just making breakfast and stuff in the house, and then my girlfriend, my fiance now, was actually getting hip surgery that same day. I'm on FaceTime with her in the morning. She's going into surgery and stuff, and right before her surgery, we're on FaceTime, and I open the garage door, and I'm like, dude, something don't seem right. Like, because I have everything pretty Sano in my garage, the way I put things, and I'm like, dude, something's missing. I kind of like close the door for a bit, and I'm like, maybe the boys like loaded the bikes up in the van or something, or put them in the back to work on them or something. And I opened the doors to my van. I'm like, my van was locked, so I opened the doors. I'm like, no, it's not in my van. Go in my backyard. No, it's not in the backyard. I'm like, dude, what the heck? And I have a stack of tires by my door, and they were moved a little bit. And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty OCD, and when I stack tires up, I'm like pretty legit. And I'm like, dude, it's moved a little bit. And I look at the door, and the dude had like picked the lock or something, but he had shut everything up like back to how it was pretty much when he opened it. So I'm like, dude, this is crazy. But like that whole day was a fiasco. Like posted it up on Instagram, and so many people shared it, and that like the word went around so quick. And I'm so grateful for the motocross community that we have down here. And yeah, dude, at one point during the day, my phone didn't even work. Like it was overheating from all the stuff. And me and my buddy from Hawaii, Brandon, we were waiting for the next clue to where this dude was at. We were tracking, and we went all the way to Anaheim Hills where they said the bike was, where they last saw it, and that's like an hour and a half from my house. So we pinned it there. We're there searching the neighborhood that people saw. We went door to door getting people to show us their Ring camera doorbell videos, and it was crazy because at first they were saying the dude was in like a silver Silverado, and so we were looking for that. And then by the time we got the Ring videos, it was actually a red Nissan. So we were looking for the wrong truck the whole time, and we're like, dang. And anyways, we get back to the house. I'm like, we're working on bikes. My good buddy Jerry Davis, he calls me as soon as I posted it. He called me. He's like, "Hey, you gonna still race Arizona?" I'm like, "Dude, I have no bike. That was my personal bike, and the only bike that I had at the time. And one of the kids from Hawaii, his bike was with it." And I'm like, dude, this kid came all the way here to race, and he gets his bike stolen. Like, this sucks. Like, I was like, at this point, I don't even care if I race. Like, I just need to get his spare bike ready so he could race that. So we were doing that all day long. My buddy Jerry Davis calls. He's like, "Hey, I'm on my way to your house right now. I'm gonna drop off my YZ2 two-stroke so you can race." I'm like, "Dude, you don't have to do that." But he's like, "No, race it, ride it like it's yours, and we'll figure it out." But then, so we're getting that bike ready. I'm like, okay, we got a clue, and then it's like the ultimate roller coaster of like emotions, to where like, okay, we got a clue, let's go get this guy, and then oh no, that didn't work out. So I'd say it's like 11 o'clock at night that same day. We're in the garage, and my buddy Andrew Older calls me from Dirt Rider, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. He's like, "Hey, dude, I just got on the freeway. We're getting ready for shootout, and I'm just leaving Jay Clark's house, and I got on the freeway, and I'm behind the dude on the freeway with your bikes on a trailer right now." And I'm like, "Dude, send me your location right now. I will get on," because he was about 2 exits up from me, headed south on the freeway. So I'm like, "Boys, jump in the truck. Let's roll." So we jump in the truck. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to call the cops." So he calls the cops, and they're tracking him all the way down. Meanwhile, I'm pinned on the 15 South Street, like 100, like just like, where is this guy? You don't want to smash his face in. But anyway, the cops ended up getting him, and they're like, "Hey, you want to see the guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And they show me him. I'm like, "Dude, I've never seen him before." And he was like an illegal immigrant with tons of stolen purses, Baja lights. Like, he was on a ramp all day just stealing.
Damn.
and it was crazy. He had like Ziploc bags full of needles. He had like soap bar size things of heroin, and the cops
He
like,
was
dude, this is
on one.
one of the biggest drug bust ever. And he was passed out cold in the back of the cop car. I'm like, dude, like this is insane. I've never in my life experienced something like that. I'm like, dude, I wish we got to him before the cops, but
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, old school his ass. You know,
yeah, yeah, dude.
definitely, man. It was a good thing that you got your bikes back. Were they when you got them back, man? I know you want to forget the story, but were they in the same condition they were when they got stolen?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my bike got pretty tore up a bit because he didn't strap it down, so it was just leaned over in the back of the trailer, kind of bouncing around and stuff. So it was like nicking up my forks and my bars and my triple clamps a little bit. And
Okay.
he ripped the graphics off, but other than that, they're in super good shape. So
Yeah, your shit
my
was in
buddy
the
from
way.
Hawaii actually ended up racing that same bike 2 days later in Arizona. His KTM, we got it all back to ready,
Good.
and you just ride it like you stole it.
Yeah, right. Damn,
Yeah,
damn. Yeah, your shit was on the way to Mexico, man. You glad you got those things back, dude, for sure. Because a lot of
yeah,
people get their shit stolen and they do not receive it, man.
yeah.
And
Luckily, I was lucky enough to get one of the dumber crackheads. So
yeah, yeah,
driving
that's
around
renowned shit.
SoCal on an open trailer with a Suzuki when there's
Yep.
that's what made me think he didn't know what he had really. He was just on around stealing stuff, but
Hmm.
got him back, and that was the main thing, man. I'm just like, dude, this has been a wild day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get back on track, man. I'm glad you got your bikes back, but speaking of Suzuki, man, you're a big Suzuki fan. I guess you've been a Suzuki fan for a long time. Pop's been a Suzuki fan, but being a test rider, you know, Suzuki doesn't always have the best rap, right? You know, the slowest, still got the kickstart. Um, they more cater to you know the beginner novice level riders, and they don't always do well in the shootout. With that being said, you're a pro rider. Why is a Suzuki your choice of weapon?
Suzuki for me was it's always been the most comfortable bike I've felt, and for me, because I grew up on Suzuki's, I rode Suzuki 85s and Suzuki big bikes pretty much that whole time I was in Hawaii. We had a local Suzuki shop that helped us out, and yeah, I just been on Suzuki's, and I've tried other brands like KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, all that, but I can never get as comfortable as I am on a Suzuki for some odd reason. Just the way the chassis feels and stuff. It suits my riding style more than any other bike, and for me, if I'm comfortable, then I'm not afraid to hold it wide open. But if I'm not, then that's when I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out.
Now, have you ever given any other bike like a reasonable amount of time or a chance to basically adapt to get comfortable on that on another bike?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on other bikes. Thankfully, MXA lets me ride pretty much all of them.
Hmm.
So I've spent a lot of time on the Yamahas, Hondas, pretty much every brand. And no matter what I do, I feel comfortable. And then I get back on my Suzuki, and I'm just like, dude, this it feels like home. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no place like home,
yeah.
huh? Right on. And you actually qualified on the national, I believe, it was in Washugo with that bike, right?
Yeah, Washugo I raced. So I bought that bike in the beginning of July, and we ended up taking it up to Washugo because the test bike I had at the time was had a lot of time on it, and we haven't didn't rebuild it. We were doing durability stuff, so
Hmm.
I was like, you know what, let's just race my stock bike. So I put a pipe on it, ECU Vortex ECU. I didn't get it remapped, so it was the stock map from Vortex. Threw the springs in the stock valving in the suspension, and ended up qualifying at Washugo,
Wow.
which was amazing.
Hmm. Now, is your bike 22, 21? Because, you know, they haven't really made any significant changes, I believe, since 2019. Are you planning on getting to 23? Are you planning on sticking out on your 22? Or whatever
For
your
right,
other bike is?
my personal bike is a 22, and then before the second Paul around, I was able to get my engine done, like a little porting polish piston from Chad at XPR. I just wanted to do something to give it a little bit more without making it a time bomb. So I'm stock valve trains, stock
Mm.
cams, all that.
Yep.
And he did the mapping on the ECU, and then we just ran some good gas in it. And that's pretty much what I have right now. My stock bike is a 23. Suzuki has stepped up and helped me a ton this year as far as bike, getting me another bike, parts. Pretty much, if I need help with something, they're there to help me out. So it's been cool. I had to take a little bit of a pay cut because we had to sign Roxon, but it's all good.
No good. Well, he's gonna. I believe like Roxon's gonna be able to help develop the bike. Maybe in ways get rid of that damn kickstart, put electric start on there, and use some of his foundation to be able to put on the production models to make Suzuki a little bit better in the near future. We'll see. I don't know how long his contract is, but we'll see how that goes. But you know, Suzuki has kind of been falling short for a while now. But I think there's potential. A lot of people like Suzuki's. I got a lot of friends who are diehard Suzuki fans who love the bikes, and if they can keep up with the times, man, I think they still have that platform to develop a really great bike.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Like the Suzuki gets a bad rap because it's heavy, it's slow, it has a Kickstarter. But the most people that actually ride one is they're pretty blown away at how good the bike is for not being changed for a long time. So hopefully, with this whole Roxon thing, kind of gives Suzuki a little bit extra motivation to change up their stuff. But if not, I mean, even if they don't change for the next couple of years, just keep that price point kind of low and kind of
Yeah.
do what like Gas is doing. Just like a good entry level bike, and a pro's gonna modify their bike no matter what. And yeah, they might not want to ride Suzuki's, but for every pro, I think there's like 5 or 6 dudes that are like just getting into the sport that don't need the full power of a Austrian bike or a 450 for that matter.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a great entry level bike, and for me, I just like it because the chassis and the way the power character is, it suits my style. I'm not really a rever, and it's got a lot of low to mid power. So I always enjoy riding the Suzuki. I think that's why I struggle a lot with the KTM's and the Huskies and just pretty much all the Austrian bikes in general. Is I never feel comfortable riding it on the rev limiter. So I never really gel with those bikes all that much.
Okay. So what do you got planned for 23? You do a lot of testing. You do some racing. Are you this year? You're going to be focused more on racing, more on testing. How's that going to work out for you this year?
This year, pretty much testing and working throughout this whole Supercross season because I'm just an outdoor guy. I have a suspension company and a suspension business that I run. So yeah, I enjoy doing that. And the winter time is usually always my busy period.
Hmm.
So plan is just to keep working, keep testing, keep developing my bikes, and probably do a little bit more to my personal race bike and give it a little bit more juice. So come outdoors, we'll be ready. And my plan is to try to do all the outdoors.
Okay.
I'm 28 now, and I know that's old for motocross, but for
Don't get
me, I've
started.
been here at this level since I was a little kid. So I still feel like I'm 20 years old, ready to go. But yeah, just build up the funds, and keep the group of people that I got around me right now, as far as sponsor wise. Just keep working hard. I've never gone into a season knowing what bike I was gonna race this early,
Hmm.
so I'm ahead of the game there, and I've been able to, now that the position that I'm in, I'm able to kind of take more time to prepare to go ride, to go train, do all the gym stuff, the cardio stuff now. So I feel like this is the first year I actually get to go all in and try to prepare myself as much as I could before round one.
Hmm.
And I'd like to at least do all of the rounds, go back east and experience those tracks. I don't really care what the result is, but as long as I give it my best, I can be like, hey, I did it once. Like this is what I was able to accomplish, and yeah, before hanging up the boots. Because if I don't do that before I hang up the boots, I think I'm gonna regret it later on and do that.
Right, all right. I mean, we got it mapped out. I don't think you should hang up the boots anytime soon. I think 2028. You're still fairly young. I mean, guys in the sports, like I've talked to several pros back in the days. Back when they were racing in the early 2000s and late 90s, and it was normal to be 30, 34, 35 years old to race. And at that age limit, I mean, like mentally, you're a lot stronger, so that'll push you
Yeah,
physically, right? And so I think, man, you got a few years left in you, man. Just have fun while you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy it, man. And you know what you got listed, and you know what you got coming up, dude. So, but like I said, I think you got some time left, man.
yeah, for sure. Like you said, like I'm still young, so I'm gonna do it as long as I can, and as long as I feel like I'm doing my best and I'm giving it my all, then I'll keep going for sure. And yeah, man, just enjoy the whole process and try to show people that a privateer Suzuki can do well as well.
That's what's up, man. Well, Brian, dude, I definitely thank you for coming on the Blacklisted Mx. It was a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime, man. And before we wrap this up, dude, I want to say once again, congratulations on your engagement. Happy New Year, man. No problem. And is there any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Of course. Thank you to Suzuki. Thank you to MXA for always having my back. Billy at Steelcore, he's helped me out huge. He called the suspension. Just everyone that has helped me. Pasha Racing. Just everyone involved in my program. Thank you very much. Um, I appreciate it, and I promise you, I'm not giving up, and the be put in for sure to try to do the best that I can, and kind of my goal is to inspire the next generation of Hawaii kids to come up and do the same, because no matter what it is, if it's moto, soccer, school, a job, it's coming from Hawaii is a big jump, and just don't be scared to go for it. And home's always going to be there when you want to go back, but go for it, man.
Right on, right on. Now, let me ask you one last question. Is there any guys that we should be looking out for that's coming out of Hawaii that's actually pretty quick as an amateur or pro?
Yeah, I've got a couple that come over and stay with me at the house. Brandon Frey, he's his first year. He kind of did a half year this past year, so kind of get his feet wet. He's coming up. Jansen Tani's good. This was his first full year as well. 2022 was his first full year. Maddox McMurray, he comes up, every once in a while to come and race with us. And Ryder Bell, he did really well this 2022 for the first time. I think he pretty much won every major race that we were in. I know he won 3 titles in the C class at Mammoth and 2 titles at Loretta's in the C class,
Okay.
which for a first year, people were like, "Oh, dude, why is he sandbagging?" But I'm like, dude, it's his first year in California. He's never rode any of these tracks. Like,
Wow.
he's just turned 16 years old and doesn't come from money, but the kid works hard, and that's the same background I have. As I tell all the kids, man, it don't matter how much money you have. If you have that work ethic, I'll help you as much as I can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you once again, Brian. Man, it was a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll be doing this again, checking up on you in your outdoor season, man, for sure.
Heck yeah, thank you very much for having me, man. You
Anytime.
have happy here, and we'll keep in touch. Let me know when you get back to Cali.
I sure will, buddy. Talk to you soon, man. Have a good one. All
Take
right.
it easy.
Two.
Later.
Peace.